Okay, we're right on time. All right, members, if you're in any room or out in the hall, it'd be time to make your way to the chamber. Mr. Clerk, how about give us a ringing of that bell and let everyone know we're ready to go back to work. Mr. Clerk. Members of the House will come to order. Let's go ahead and do some privilege resolutions. Mr. Clerk, would you be in that mode? Mr. Clerk, would you read a group of privileged resolutions?
Honoring the life and memory of John Osher. Honoring the life and memory of Eric Randall. Honoring the 3rd Infantry Division and Brigadier General John W. Lubis, and recognizing February 25th, 2026 as Fort Stewart Liberty County Day at the Capitol. Recognizing and commending the Liberty County, Fulton County, and DeKalb County Youth Commissions for their continued service and leadership development efforts within the community. Recognizing February 24th, 2026 as Georgia Commission on Women's Champion for Change Day at the State Capitol. Recognizing and commending Scott Tomlinson upon his retirement. Commending Ade Kunle Rashid Okiki Ade Gode, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for his distinguished legal service, human rights advocacy, and contributions to democratic governance. Commending and congratulating Clarence Taylor upon his 70th birthday. Recognizing and commending Jackie Lauren. Recognizing and commending Sharita Blair. recognizing February 24th, 2026 as Advanced Practice Registered Nurses Day at the state capitol, recognizing and commending Shiradee Dixon, recognizing February 26, 2026 as Dale Murphy Day, recognizing and congratulating Georgia Louise Kimball, recognizing July 27th and August 2nd, 2026 as Fertility Awareness Week, recognizing and commending Jesse Wu, recognizing and commending Anita Obidi, recognizing and commending Lynn Bayon, recognizing March 11th, 2026 as Nurses Day at the state capitol, recognizing and honoring the life and enduring legacy of Alexandra Alex Marie Patafio for her indelible contributions to the Georgia legal community while a student at the Georgia State University College of Law. Congratulating and commending Dwayne McCreary, the Cartersville Bartow County Chamber of Commerce 2026 Chairman Award winner. Congratulating and commending Andrea Woodward, the Cartersville Bartow County Chamber of Commerce 2026 Volunteer of the Year. Congratulating and commending Volstal Alpine Automotive Components, the Cartersville Bartow County Chamber of Commerce 2026 Manufacturer of the Year. Congratulating and commending Schottenkirk Honda, the Cartersville Bartow County Chamber of Commerce 2026 Community Partner of the Year. Congratulating and commending All-Star Roofing, the Cartersville Bartow County Chamber of Commerce 2026 Small Business of the Year. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection? Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? Hearing none, the resolutions are adopted. Members, if you're close by, you need to come on to the floor. We're moving on to the rules calendar. Moving on to the rules calendar. We'll try to be done by dark. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1123, 1123?
House Bill 1123 by Representative Jones of the 47th and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 14 of Article 60, Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the other educational programs under the Quality Basic Education Act, so as to require certain schools that offer after-school programs to make such programs available to pre-kindergarten students. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Members, we have an important bill coming to the floor. So I invite all members to come to the floor as I recognize the Speaker Pro Tem of this House, a lady who is no stranger to good policy, Pro Tem Jan Jones. The lady's recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members of the House. I wanted to present House Bill 1123, which would expand pre-K after-school services to help working families. So it's narrowly tailored, and it's really a result of a study committee the Speaker appointed me to chair and a number of your colleagues to be on 2 years ago. It would require public schools that offer pre-K within their public schools and that offer the availability of after-school care services to grades K through 5 students to make them also available to their pre-K students on the same basis. I do want to make clear that these after-school services, which assist working parents, are not subsidized by state taxpayers or local taxpayers. They're paid for by the parents, and the school systems determine what those fees would be. Sometimes the after-school, after-care services are contracted out to private providers, and oftentimes they are all offered by the school system themselves. And out of 112 systems that serve pre-K and offer after school, only 22 do not. The vast majority do offer this, but it became clear in the process of the study committee 2 years ago that it would be helpful to all families to give them that option if they choose. If they don't choose that option because either A, they don't need after-school services, or they prefer to have their child transported to a private provider that might better serve their needs because they may have, for example, younger siblings there, they would also have that opportunity. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
The lady has no questions.
Well, thank you, members, and I ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 1123.
Appreciate your work on this important
Build the well.
part of our educational process. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? All members voted. This so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 1123, the yeas are 162, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1009, 1009?
House Bill 1009 by Representative Hilton of the 48th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to elementary and secondary education so as to require local school systems and public schools to enact policies and procedures for use of personal electronic devices at school. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
You've worked on this subject before, haven't you? I'm glad to recognize and proud to recognize Chairman Scott Hilton to speak to House Bill 1009. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have worked on this before, and last year when I introduced this bill, the Distraction Free Act, you guys tried to distract me, and you texted and called me while I was up here. So today I'm going to put my phone in my pouch here, and this oh, you're doing it right now. I feel somebody texting me. Now, I'm going to put this right here so I'm not distracted. And all of you guys have a distraction-free pouch. So I'd encourage the whole chamber to put your phone away and let's listen here. I'm seeing it. I love it. I love it. Colleagues, I'm honored to present House Bill 1009. Mr. Speaker, you often remind us that this House makes decisions based off of data and facts. Well, Mr. Speaker, the data is clear. 3,000 teachers across 155 counties told us that 96% of those teachers say cell phones are interfering with learning. In this state, we have never spent more money than we do today on education, and that is billions of dollars of our taxpayer money wasted if those children are spending time on their cell phones. High school teachers tell us that half of their students are off task for large portions of the day. Colleagues, outcomes matter, and our students are suffering academically, but are also missing out on meaningful social and emotional connections with each other. House Bill 1009 builds on the Distraction Free Act from last year, extending the same bell-to-bell, no cell phone policies to high school beginning with the 2027-28 school year. Nationwide, 40 states now have a statewide cell phone policy, with more than half of those a best practice of bell-to-bell approach. Georgia is the only state out of all 40 that actually stop at K through 8. We do understand high school differs from K through 8, which is why we have exclusions for dual enrollment, work-based learning, and apprenticeships. It's important to note that about half of our high schools have already adopted some form of a cell phone-free policy. Our educators are not waiting on us. They've seen the benefits, and they are taking action now. Overall, 85% of educators support bell-to-bell no-cell policies. A statewide survey of Georgia families found that more than 70% of parents support limiting cell phone use during the school day. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, the data across the country and throughout education is clear. Cell phone-free classrooms lead to higher grades, better test scores, and better student behavior. The work we're doing around education today will truly change lives. Let's restore focus in our classrooms so our teachers can teach and our students can flourish socially, emotionally, and academically. I ask for your support of House Bill 1009, and I will yield for questions.
The gentleman has a couple of questions. Representative Jasmine Clark, to your left, is recognized for a question. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
I completely understand the premise of this bill and what we're trying to go through, but you mentioned cell phones as what's being prohibited, but in fact, it is more than just cell phones that would be prohibited from bell to bell. It also includes smart watches and headphones and things like that. A lot of high school students, they might carry their smart watches for any other myriad of reasons. It's very difficult to actually communicate on a smartwatch, tracking their steps, so are we sure that we want to have this open to some devices that are not necessarily used for communication during the school day?
So it's a great question. We included all devices on line 28 there that are capable of sending and receiving two-way communications. So that's been kind of best practice across the states that we've seen implement something like this. Again, those devices are capable of allowing students to cheat on tests. They're capable of allowing students to record, bullying or fighting with each other. It is worth noting too, these only include the personal devices. Schools themselves, a lot of schools around Georgia have devices for learning. We did, on that line 28, made sure to exclude e-readers, which are often used. A lot of those are not capable of sending or receiving two-way communication.
All right. Thank you. Does the gentleman further yield?
I do.
I'll keep it quick. So I understand that as well, but when you have things like, again, headphones and things like, I just feel like the goal of this was for cell phones, and you mentioned cell phones, and the pouches themselves that many schools use are specifically for cell phones. And I just worry about schools now might maybe being responsible for all of these other electronic devices, because we do live in a digital society where a lot of these students have these things on their person, not to be a distraction, but just as part of their daily lives.
So two thoughts on that. Number one, I'd be hard-pressed to determine why in a learning environment a child would need their headphones in a classroom. I've heard from a teacher who said, Scott, I'll be teaching, especially a girl, long hair, and they'll have earbuds in, watching a movie or listening to music while I'm teaching, calculus. The bill is intentionally short in that we want schools to determine what's the best policy for them. Some use the pouches, some put devices on the back of a door, so I trust the local schools to decide, how to handle the technology that we outline here in the bill.
Thank you.
Gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Sandra Scott, to your right. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's the gentleman yield.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I would like to thank you for bringing this bill, because I truly, truly believe that it will help our kids to better focus in class, and then to cut out a lot of disruptions that teachers have in class. Because if you ever notice, when one fight break out in one school, it starts in another school, and that's because of cell phones. And I'm truly glad that you're bringing this bill. Thank you.
It's the best question of the day.
Representative, that was a good question
That's
for
a
you.
great question.
Representative Jason Ridley to your right is recognized.
Excuse the gentleman yield.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. You just said the last part you said, with the representative before, you said that the teachers manage the classrooms. And so like my daughter's school, and I think in the last bill it had a choice that they could do it if they wanted to implement it or not, and like my daughter's school did. But you talk about a teacher that told you that, you know, they're doing this and doing that. Well, they're not paid just to teach. They're also paid to manage the classroom. That's actually one of the classes they have to take to become a teacher. And I just think we're throwing a bunch of big government on somebody. If we're going to give somebody a choice, then we'll let it play out longer than a year.
I think to address your concern, teachers, to your point, that's what they do best is teach. And unfortunately, in today's classroom, they've become the cell phone police. And so both students and teachers are suffering. Students are, we've seen disciplinary incidents go up with cell phones in the classroom. But I want to let teachers do what they do best, and that's teach. And so by getting cell phones out of the classroom, they no longer have to manage all that. The reason for the policy is we don't want interspersed different policies all over the state. I think it helps us to have a nice, even policy across the state.
But we gave them a choice to do that, though. But we didn't let it lay out, and there's no way you got enough data from that because it's only been 1 year. We gave the high schools had a choice to do this program if they wanted to, correct? Now we're going to force them to do it.
Yeah, I think absent policy, many are already moving in this direction. Many want to move in this direction, and they're looking to us to set that policy. And so, yeah, I think they'll gladly step into that choice because the data, the research, the families, the teachers all tell us this is what we want.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for one
Whip
more.
Park is recognized for a question. Take one more. You have a bunch of them, but I wanted to recognize him. The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Hilton, thank you for the bill. Thank you also for these cyber pouches. I could not help but notice that they were made in China. So I was just wondering, whether or not there are cyber pouches made in America, and whether or not schools, once this bill passes, would be able to buy manufactured cyber pouches.
I would welcome an American First bill that says American-made pouches only, but there are a variety of folks that make these pouches, Yonder being one. And really, again, we're intentionally leave that out of the legislation to allow schools to design a program that works best for them. I guess since this is made in China, be careful when you put your phone in here on who's listening. So.
Thank you.
I know the gentleman's been communicating with his seatmate, so I'm interested to hear what that question is going to be about. Representative Williams is recognized. Al Williams for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that the speaker nor I had cell phones in school?
And I think you did all right. Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, we probably had smoke signals, but is it not true that we passed a monumental literacy bill just a little while ago?
Yes, sir.
And is it not true that we have to use everything at our disposal to make sure that everyone can read, and we don't need distractions, and we don't need games played, and there are a lot of excuses, but everything can't be by choice. If I had my choice, 70 miles per hour would not be the speed limit. Sometimes it's like castor oil, kind of bad going down, but it's very good for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I know we're late in the afternoon here. I'll yield the well. Unless
It's your choice.
I'll take one more from the audience here. This is what happens when you guys put your cell phones up. See how much more engaged we get as a
Well, let's have
one.
one from another perspective. We had one that didn't have cell phones and one that has dealt with them. Representative Berry is recognized for a question to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
I asked the same question last year, but I want to ask again this year. What strides has this General Assembly done to make digital equity a reality in every single classroom? Because not every single classroom is one-to-one. Our classrooms are very underfunded. So what strides has the General Assembly made to make digital equity a reality for every single classroom in the state?
Well, I'll just, as I mentioned in the presentation, I applaud this, the governor, this body here. Education now this is the most money we've put toward education in the history of this state. And so I'm proud of the work we've done. And, I would just say digital equity is important, but also removing distractions from our classrooms. And so I ask for your support of House Bill 1009. Mr. Speaker, I will leave the well.
Go check your pouch and check your messages. You had some more questions, but we don't have any speakers on this bill. So is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The gentleman has yielded the well. Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? All members voted. For what purpose does Representative Neal rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I invoke Rule 133 to be excused?
The lady has that right, and the journal will so reflect. For what purpose does Representative Barnes rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that while I appreciate us removing the distractions from the classroom, that I think we need to think about the safety measures on taking their phones from bell to bell? Thank you.
I appreciate the lady's concern, and I do appreciate the efforts this House has taken on school safety the last year and certainly this year as well. But your concern is well noted. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1009, the yeas are 145, the nays are 20. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1023?
House Bill 1023 by Representative Estration of the 104th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Article 27 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to loitering at or disrupting schools, so as to require local boards of education and other public school governing bodies to utilize weapon detection systems to aid in the prevention of any individual attempting to unlawfully possess or carry a weapon. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Leader Estration is recognized to present House Bill 1023.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you today House Bill 1023. Under the leadership of Speaker Burns, Chairman Irwin, Representative Persinger, and many other leaders in this chamber, keeping our students safe in Georgia has been a top priority of the Georgia House of Representatives. House Bill 1023 is the next step in that important work by requiring all Georgia public schools to implement one or more weapons detection system at points of entry into school buildings, where students will be primarily for education. This bill does not apply to entrances which are there or doors there simply for emergency exit use, and there's a requirement for alarms if the student is not to enter in through that door. So my other job is I'm a practicing attorney, and when I have to go to the courthouse, it's very commonplace for me to walk through a weapons detection system when I enter into a courthouse. Georgia's students and educators deserve similar security with weapons detection systems inside of every Georgia public school. This bill builds on existing school safety plans and legislation that's been passed to provide local school systems with available grants so that these decisions are made on the local level as to what the appropriate system is to utilize and how best it is to be funded. The purpose is clear. This is a measure toward ensuring that a further step is taken to stop unlawful weapons from being brought into school buildings. This is not a mandate for any specific type of system, and it makes clear that as local school boards, school systems implement their safety plans, that they maintain that discretion. Now, last year, this Georgia House passed a landmark bill for school safety, authored by Representative Persinger, Chairman Irwin, and others. This General Assembly has appropriated over $350 million for school security over the past few years. This funding even predated the tragedy that occurred at Appalachia High School, which is located in the legislative district that I represent. We had a student from Appalachia High School actually appear in committee in support of this legislation. Through continued appropriations funded by the General Assembly, I believe that this bill is the next step to ensure that every parent, every grandparent knows that when they drop their child off at school in the morning, they're going to be able to pick them up safely at the end of the day. And I'd respectfully request your favorable consideration of House Bill 1023. Mr. Speaker, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Gentleman has a question or two. Representative Betsy Holland is recognized to your right, recognized for a question. Ladies, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to say thank you for continuing to make school safety a priority in this body. Speaking to schools in my district, depending on the age or layout of the school, I hear that the cost of these systems, if they're effective, can be $400,000 per building or per school campus. You mentioned that there was an opportunity for appropriations to be applied towards this. Do we have money in the budget that will cover this cost for the school districts that will need it?
So the 27 budget that has been proposed includes the $50,000 for every school in Georgia. And I'll just tell you, there's a multitude of different systems because of the definition provided for in this legislation. There are a multitude of systems that would fit within the definition that are affordable. And if a school system decides or the General Assembly appropriates further dollars, maybe there could be more advanced systems that could be in place. But it's my belief in bringing this bill that with the school safety grants that have been put in the budget, and which I hope to be put in the budget in the future, that this will not be an unfunded mandate on local school systems, that they will have the financial resources necessary to implement this, understanding that keeping our students safe is a paramount priority.
Gentleman, yield for question. Representative Carlton Howard to your left and way in the back on your left.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Along those same lines about funding, you mentioned various types of grants that were available. Can you clarify which specific grants are available dedicated to that funding? Also, not just for the funding of the devices, but for the staffing and training that will be ongoing in years to come.
Yes, sir.
I know we mentioned the $50,000 that's granted per school, but my school systems will spend $135,000 per school to get this done. So I would like to know where are those funding sources?
Yes, sir. Great question. Thank you for asking it. First of all, it's approximately $57,000 has been included in the budget by the General Assembly for school security, and that's per school in Georgia. And there's discretion locally about how to utilize those funds. So if it's to be used on the infrastructure for a system or for personnel to implement it, that discretion is local, consistent with school safety plans, which are to be made by the local school system already under existing law. The idea here is that that flexibility is maintained with local school systems based upon the layout of the school and the particular needs of that school and existing systems that already are in place. So there are many school systems in Georgia that already have weapons detection systems in place. So allowing for that local discretion and ensuring that not only that we support the funding that we have, as we have done so in the past, but that funding continues to be available, I believe will give the financial resources necessary so that school systems can fund both the infrastructure and the personnel. Mr. Speaker, I'd be happy to yield for one more question if there are any.
Leader Hughley to your left, right in front of you. I think you know where she sits. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any penalties for schools if they are unable to meet this requirement? What are we going to do?
So there's no penalties laid out in the bill, but it would be the law if the General Assembly enacts it for school systems to have weapons detection systems in place, and so the definition is as written there would be the requirement.
Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Have we given consideration to giving them a window of time to come into compliance with this, realizing that it's going to take some money and we're going to have to continue to fund, and they got to have grants and find other resources available to do this?
Yes, ma'am. Great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So initially, when the bill was proposed, there was a much sooner implementation date that was part of it. I listened to feedback which was brought, and the substitute presented to the Education Committee would delay implementation to allow for a greater amount of time for local school systems to implement these. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about keeping Georgia's students safe, and this is a reasonable measure for us to take to ensure that students entering school buildings, and teachers entering school buildings, parents who go to visit their kids at school, that they know that their kids are in an environment in which a weapons detection system has been in place to prevent the entry of weapons. That is a similar process that we have when I go to the courthouse, when we go to the airport. We see these different places, and it's very reasonable to extend these measures also to Georgia public schools. I ask for the body's favorable consideration.
Someone has one more question. I mean, he could have whispered to you, but I guess we'll let him ask a question if you'll yield. Whip Burchett is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that you worked to make sure that there was flexibility within the definitions to allow for some very inexpensive means of detecting weapons?
Yes, sir, and thank you for the question. With the advancements in technology now and AI, there's a new way for this to be done in ways which are comparatively less expensive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you again. Does the gentleman yield for one more?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that majority of the schools that are at least in majority of Georgia are already performing this measure under some of the grants that we're already offering?
So I agree with the gentleman's point that these have been implemented, rolled out across the state. It's sometimes a little difficult to get the exact number of systems where it is in place, but I very much agree that this has been embraced by local school systems across the state.
Last one, and if they are instituted already, then it meets the intent of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for the House's favorable consideration of HB 1023, and I yield the well.
Gentlemen's yielded the well. We have some speakers that are in favor of and those that are opposed. I'm going to give 20 minutes to either side. The opposed side will have up to 20 minutes. Those in favor, we have two signed that will speak in favor. You have up to 20 minutes. Representative Berry is recognized to speak in opposition to the bill, House Bill 1023. He waves. Oh, wait a minute. You're opposed, right? I want to, okay, yes. So that's what I think that's what I said. I'll check your tape, though. The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I rise in opposition to this bill. In my short time here, I've gotten to know everyone in this chamber. I try to speak to everyone I see each morning. That's just how I was raised. And I hope when you speak to me and you get to know me, you see that everything is deeply principled and moral for me. If I vote no on a bill, I do my best to speak to the author first to explain my reasoning and then hear out their reasoning, just as I did today with my friend. No one is opposed to school safety, at least I hope so. In my opinion, there's no greater responsibility before this body than ensuring the safety of our schools. We all wrestle with this issue of safety daily. I deal with it each day when I walk into my classroom. But look at it this way, as my other friend told me. If you're eating McDonald's and see a homeless person on the street, do you offer them that half-eaten burger because, well, at least they got to eat something? No, and that same concept applies to this bill. We shouldn't just be passing bills just to say, well, at least it's something, when we know full well there are a slew of other options that are a million times better and more effective. We spend so much time beating around the bush that it's actually become embarrassing. I think the president calls it the weave, whatever that means, but really it's just outright insanity. We've allowed guns and weapons of war to become more available than a pack of gum in this state and then act confused when people keep dying. Let's stop hiding behind procedure and politics and pretending that the threat our children face is some vague, mysterious force. It is not a mystery to the parents who drop their kids off with a pit in their stomach. It is not a mystery to the students who text "I love you" before the bell rings just in case. It is not a mystery to us teachers who quietly scan the exits while we're trying to teach fractions. When I first read this bill, after banging my head against the wall, I couldn't help but laugh. Because at this point, the actions of this body are laughable and embarrassing. We are installing metal detectors in our schools because guns keep ending up in our schools. Because we have normalized the unthinkable. We are installing metal detectors because we have refused to even hear common sense democratic bills on gun safety. Advocates sit out there every day asking for everything from safe storage and a assault weapons ban, keeping guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. We think we have acted? No need to answer that, because we are here debating another unfunded mandate. Those ideas here become the legislative graveyard because we think it is wiser to offer thoughts, prayers, and moments of silence, but we cannot seem to offer moments of courage. I am tired. And I know y'all are tired too. Tired of yelling about something that unfortunately y'all refuse to care or listen to. But I won't stop bringing this up. I won't stop talking about the cowardice that permeates this chamber. And I can't, because in my classroom, I keep a bag of dum-dums. Why? Because I need something for my students to chew on to stay silent should an armed gunman enter my school. Do any of you have any idea what it's like? The daily trauma that has to be endured to simply train students not to die, to have to explain to impressionable 12-year-olds why they have to endure constant lockdowns. So I won't ever stop talking about this and give in to the same cowardice. And while we're hardening schools, let's tell the truth about something else. Our kids don't just face this fear between first period and dismissal. They face it walking down their streets, sitting in their churches, shopping in their grocery stores. We act urgent when the building has a bell schedule, but somehow less urgent everywhere else. That is a hypocrisy our children can see right through. If we admit that the threat is real enough to put a metal detector at the schoolhouse door, then we have to admit it's real everywhere else those same children live their lives. Let me be clear. Metal detectors are not a victory. They are an admission that we have failed somewhere else, an admission that the adults in the room have not done enough to stop the danger before it reaches the front door. Some will say this is dramatic. Tell it to the families who buried their babies. Some will say that we're overreacting. Tell it to the students who jumps when a locker slams. And some will say this is just the price of living in America. If that is your price of liberty and of freedom, then I reject that. Our children should not pay the price for our inability to act like leaders. We were not sent here to protect our own comfort. We were sent here to protect theirs. So I refuse to vote for another half measure. I refuse to continue to give false hope to the advocates that stand outside that something may happen one day. And I refuse to continue to be a pawn in this trap game of policies that won't work. So for the teachers, for the parents, and for every child who deserves to walk into a classroom, think about their future instead of their survival, let's find some courage. Until that day, I will vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman's yielded the well. We have a couple of speakers in favor. Representative Dr. Al is recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak in support of HB 1023. Yes, I said in support. So I do this as someone who's done work in the area of gun safety legislation and violence prevention for many years now, which I note only because I hope it gives what I'm going to say next some credibility. Parents are worried about their kids, right? Parents always worry. Ask me how I know. But in particular, in these times, parents worry that their kids are going to get shot. And I invite people to ask why it is that families worry so much about this particular issue and what conditions exist in this state that push us to have to propose bills like this, right? Bills like HB 1023 exist because we can all agree that we want to keep our kids safer from gun violence, right? Particularly when they are at school. That agreement is a good thing, right? Will metal detectors prevent many weapons from being bought into school buildings? Probably, right? It works at the airport, as we noted. We have metal detectors in this building. And in CLOB, I walk through a metal detector every day at the hospital. We can agree that it's a priority, that kids shouldn't have unsupervised access to guns, right? But since we're talking about it, I just want to note that bills like HB 1023 only address school shootings, while a form of gun violence that tends to get the most attention is also the most rare. Metal detectors in schools won't address teen gun violence outside of schools. It won't address guns being stolen from cars and being used to commit crimes. The most common form of gun violence is actually suicide, and metal detectors in schools won't address that. And it won't address young children from getting injured or killed in their homes because they gain access to unsecured loaded guns, just like we saw last week when a 2-year-old in Sandy Springs shot himself in the face with his father's gun. Just as a side note, because people bring this up, some parents don't think a 2-year-old is strong enough to pull a trigger on a gun. But I'm just going to note that a toddler's strongest fingers are his thumbs. So just think for a second what direction a gun is facing when a child is pulling the trigger with his thumbs. So I'm going to vote yes on HB 1023 because many parents have asked for it, right? Many of my constituents want it. And many students, including the students I've worked with from the sponsor's district, Appalachia High School, have advocated for it. But remember why it is that some of us, want bills like this to pass. Think about, as we talk about all the time, the root causes of gun violence, right? And recognize that the final common pathway of all gun violence is not the absence of metal detectors, but easy access to a gun. So after this bill passes, I hope we can continue to have good faith conversations about how best to keep our kids safe. I hope we can continue to work together on real solutions. And I hope this session we can finally hear and vote on HB 1, the Pediatric Health Safe Storage Act, which addresses this same issue further upstream. I'm going to vote yes on HB 1023 in addition to, but not in lieu of, further action on gun safety to protect our kids. Thank you to the bill sponsor for taking time to talk to our families at Appalachia and for working on this bill. But now let's keep going together. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
The ladies yielded the well. Representative Barnes, you have up to 15 minutes. We don't have to use them all, but you do have up to 15 minutes.
Can y'all see me with this?
You can put them in your pocket and use them next time, maybe, you know, who knows?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I won't take 15 minutes, but I might. I rise today in support of HB 1023. I rise not only as a legislator, but a mother. So I'm going to say this several times in my speech so it can be wired in your brain. Prevention before intervention. Prevention before intervention. And this is interactive. How many of us have children in school right now? School-age children. School-age children? Ooh, it's a few of us. Well, I'm speaking as a mother right now, and I take this bill personally because I have a school-age child. I have a son in high school. And like so many parents across this state, every single morning I send my son to school. I say a prayer over him. I touch him. It makes me emotional that it makes me emotional as a mother, as a parent, to have to worry about my kid's safety every single freaking day. He walks to school, he gets on the bus, or I drop him off at school because I want to be worried about his academics, not if he's going to get in a fight and a kid pulls out a weapon, not if someone's going to come shoot up the school, but those are realities that we deal with. My son comes home and he's witnessed a fight, and it traumatizes him every time. And so we're not only parenting, we're being mental health counselors as well to these children, which prevention before intervention. HB 1023 is an attempt to respond to this reality by preventing weapons entering our school buildings. The intent is clear, and I appreciate this bill. We want to protect our children before harm occurs. But at the same time, it's important that we acknowledge other concerns that are raised by other members of the caucus. Research shows that weapon detection systems alone don't prevent violence. Technology can help intercept a weapon. You know, they're printing guns off 3D printers and they're plastic. These kids are outsmarting us. So I appreciate the effort, but we still have to do some prevention before we do this intervention. We should be investing in mental health supports inside of schools, spaces where students can decompress, regulate their feelings. We're all older, and we are kind of creating policy to when we were in school. So we have to begin to think innovatively. We have to involve these children because times have changed. They do use cell phones, and I agree that they're distracting because we didn't have cell phones in school when we were growing up. I'm a little older than I look. But they are distracting, but cell phones exist in their lives today. So how do we remove cell phones from schools, but also go along with the times by involving the youth in these decisions that we are making? And again, I bring my son into this because I'm involving my son in this decision on why I'm voting on yes on this bill. When he comes home and tells me about a kid that pulled out scissors that didn't get caught in the weapons detection system and still stabbed his classmate. That happened probably 2 months ago. So that brings me back to prevention before intervention. We must also be mindful about the funding. I appreciate the $50,000 that we appropriate, but this bill does not provide new state dollars, and districts are expected to use these grants. But maybe we need to do some type of assessment in a few years to see if it worked for the school systems equally. Finally, implementation matters. Another complaint from my child who is dealing with a weapon detection system in his school is the long line. He has to stand in line for about 30 minutes before he gets to school. Are we penalizing them for being late for class? What are we going to do about the traffic jam? It's stressful to stand in those lines. My son, the last fight he saw was in the line waiting to get through the detection system. So we have to think about these things as well. Many schools are already making difficult choices with limited resources. So if they can't afford to buy the proper weapons detection system and they're just using a club scanner, are they really catching what needs to be caught? And we must ensure that safety measures do not unintentionally criminalize our children. So what steps are we taking to provide some type of counseling or therapy if they are bringing weapons to school, or are we just immediately criminalizing them? And again, I am in support of this bill. I just want us to be mindful about the things that the youth bring to our attention about this. And I also really do want us to think about the traffic jam in the morning, because it can throw off your mental in the morning if you're, like when we're driving in traffic in the morning and we're all stressed out when we get in here, kids are walking through traffic and it could be stressful, even to those children with disabilities like having stressful environments. So we have to think about that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am in support of 1023 and I yield the well. Thank you.
Thank you. The ladies yielded the well. That concludes our members who are speaking in favor of and opposed to. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? We do have a minority report. Minority report is waived. Hearing no objection, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Leader Hughley rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry, ma'am.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that some of us are voting for this bill in anticipation that we will continue to work on the funding and maybe extend out the time that schools have to be in compliance?
I think that's a worthy conversation to have. Sure, the lady believes in what she just spoke. For what purpose does Representative Clark, Jasmine Clark, rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry, ma'am.
Is it not true that while I completely agree with the distinguished leader that I hope that we work on the funding of this, I cannot in good faith vote yes until we absolutely do that. Thank you.
Understand the lady's position and certainly respect it. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 1023, the yeas are 151, the nays are 11. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 971?
House Bill 971 by Representative Townsend of the 179th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Part 14 of Article 6 of Chapter 2, entitled 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to other education programs under the Quality Basic Education Act, so as to provide for home study students and private students to enroll in college and career academies located in certain RESA service areas. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Townsend, you're ready. The gentleman is recognized. Representative Townsend will present House Bill 971.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hello, colleagues. I bring you 971. It's a workforce development bill. It's about developing a 21st century workforce. It involves young kids, involves college and career academies. It's where kids are taught to follow their passion. They're taught soft skills. Is it going to be construction, welding, machining, healthcare, graphic arts? Any of your CTAA courses, that's what college and career academies are. A lot of our communities have them, some don't. Currently, when you're in a college or career academy, if you live inside the county, you can have a private school or homeschool student attend at no charge. The school system gets the FTE funding or QBE funding for it. Then the student goes for no charge, like I said, the parents don't have to pay. And the school systems opt in for this. They don't have to opt in if they don't want to. This allows homeschool kids and private school kids to attend a college career academy. It was brought to me that we had kids in our area from out of county who wanted to come inside our county and go to the college career academy to learn those technical skills, to build Golden Isle's 21st century workforce, and we're going to do that across the state. So this bill allows private school kids, homeschool kids, to attend a college career academy in a neighboring county, or if you're in their RESA. Again, and it's opt-in for the school system. They don't have to opt in if they don't want to. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I'll be glad to take any questions.
You did an excellent job of explaining the bill because even I understand it and you don't have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentlemen, yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Carter rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that this is a great opportunity for workforce development for students that are in homeschool or private school, but it also opens the door for an opportunity for students that are in our public schools to also participate in a CATE course in an adjoining school district? Is that not also true?
Absolutely, if the schools opt in. I think y'all did great work on this bill, you and the representative that presented the bill. So I think y'all got it worked out. You and Representative Townsend own to something here. So all members voted. All members voted. Thank you for the inquiry, by the way. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 971, the yeas are 164, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 310.
House Bill 310 by Representative Lallier, the 59th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Part 9 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 entitled 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to grants for educational programs so as to establish a program to support recruitment of teachers by providing grant funds to be paid by public schools to student teachers participating in the required student teaching component. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Phil Lallier is recognized to present the bill. Representative Lallier.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon again, colleagues. I bring before you House Bill 310, which creates a pilot program for 500 Pell-eligible student teachers, providing a grant up to $5,000 during their unpaid student teaching semester and an additional $2,500 grant if they go on to teach in a Georgia public school. We currently have more than 5,000 teacher vacancies statewide. So this is a real and persistent issue. And behind every vacancy are dozens of children without a prepared and supported educator. And so imagine being a talented college senior in a Georgia classroom for your semester-long student teaching residency, working before sunrise, planning lessons well into the night, all unpaid. And in today's economy, that means, especially for those working students like I was, you're having to take on a second and a third job just to survive. And too often something has to give, and for some, it's your dream to become a teacher. And so we know that completing student teaching both drives readiness and long-term retention. And if we want teachers who are prepared and who stay in our classrooms, we've got to lower barriers that keep them from getting there in the first place. HB 310 does that. It strengthens our teacher pipeline and invests in future educators and in the students they will ultimately serve. That's the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy to yield for any questions.
You have no questions, so you did an excellent job, and you have
Sounds
great
good.
policy, so thank you for bringing it. You do have a question now. I knew if I talked long enough, you'd get one. Representative Neal, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that this is your first bill?
That is true.
Is it true that you laid out that dapper suit you have on, like the first day of school, in preparation for your first bill?
Well, apparently feel good, present good. So that was the mindset. Thank you.
So you saying I should call him Dapper Dan? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I can do that. Representative Wade, Will Wade, to your right in the back right-hand corner is recognized.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do, to my friend up in North Georgia.
Thank you, North Georgia, God's country. So is it not true that we had great conversations regarding this, and that this is an effort to help fill the gap for our teacher pipeline, and this will hopefully be a first step toward a pilot program that could help not just Pell recipient grants, but in the future help other aspiring teachers?
That is correct, and the gentleman knows of what he speaks, and I appreciate your support.
How about recognizing Chairman Irwin for a question? He knows a little bit about this subject. Gentleman, yield to Chairman Irwin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
First of all, is it not true, Representative, that we currently have over 5,000 certified teacher vacancies in our schools?
That is correct.
Thank you for this bill and the effort to try to fill those vacancies.
Thank you for your support.
Representative Reese, back in the left-hand corner, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Reluctantly, I do.
You don't have to yield if you don't want to.
He got to come back and sit beside me. He better yield.
I do.
Isn't it true that the author of this bill, you, sir, have shown great passion toward education since the first day you stepped your foot into these halls, and you've always thought about our children, our educational system, and that it drives you every day, and we're very proud of you for where you are with this legislation and being a voice and a reasonable voice to get things done for our school districts.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Representative McLean, can you add to that? The gentleman will be recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Well, thank you. I do love the bill. My only concern was you said it was only for students, or I'm trying to figure out, can I qualify?
I mean, they're allowing athletes back in college at the age of 30, it seems like. So I think you might have a chance, sir.
Thank you. Very good bill.
Thank you. And Mr. Speaker, if there aren't any other questions, I'd ask this body for its favorable consideration, and I yield the will.
I have one more question for you. That's Representative Derek Jackson to your left. That'll be the last question if you'll yield for that one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
So this is your first bill?
That's correct.
So I'm curious, why you only stop at $2,500? You should have shot for the moon and said the bonus should be $5,000, $10,000.
Well, I'm hoping that we can get there and increase it. We got to get on base first.
It's an excellent bill. Thank you, my friend.
I appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, I will gladly yield the well and ask this body for its favorable consideration.
You did an outstanding job. Congratulations. We'll see how the board does. I mean, you know, every time, even though you get applause, a lot of red votes go up. So let's see. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. All members voted. Ms. Clerk will lock. Wait a minute. All members voted. For what purpose is Representative Berry rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that my first job as legislator was an intern for Representative Lallier? So technically, this is my first bill as well.
You just can't make it up. There you go. Good bill, good presentation. Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 310, the yeas are 151, the nays are 6. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Congratulations. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 385?
House Bill 385 by Representative Holcomb of the 101st and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 20-3-519.2 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to eligibility requirements for Hope Scholarship and award amount. This bill having referred to the Committee on Higher Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
We're going to suspend just for a minute before Representative Holcomb presents. Representative Lallier has the fish, the bass. Good day in the neighborhood. Congratulations, Representative Alaye. We're proud of you. Good job. Chair is going to recognize Representative Holcomb now to present House Bill 385. Give the gentleman the well your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Some days the stars just line up right. And it is an absolute privilege for a member to have a child page. It is an even greater privilege to have a child page while one gets to present a bill. My daughter Kirsten is in the back.
Dad, you just embarrassed her. You're going to pay for that, I'm sure.
I can see that, Mr. Speaker.
Please recognize.
And she's also here with her friends, Marion and Elsa. They've been childhood friends. And beyond that, what makes this even more incredible is that this bill, which I'll explain the merits in just a moment, is to expand those who are eligible to use the Hope Scholarship. And the idea was brought to me by Ansley Davis, who is a constituent. She is here today and in the gallery with dogs at the Dome. And so what an incredible just opportunity. So please welcome Ansley. And I've enjoyed getting to know her parents, Michael and Lori, in this process. So Speaker Burns, Chairman Parrish, thank you so much for the courtesy you've shown by letting me present this bill today. It's most appreciated. So what does this bill do? For those of you who were here 3 years ago, you would be familiar with it. We passed this measure. It was ultimately vetoed by the governor, and that was because there were 2 other provisions that were added onto it in the Senate. This does not have those provisions. And what this bill would do is it would allow students that have unused credits for their Hope Scholarship to, instead of getting 2 bachelor's degrees, which there's nothing wrong with that, but instead they would be able to use those unused credits to get started on graduate school or professional school. They would have to pay the difference between the undergraduate rate and the graduate or professional rate. But the idea would be that it would keep our most talented students in Georgia, both to continue their educations and then ideally for them to start their careers. One of Governor Kemp's priorities is to both cultivate and keep our talent, and that's something that I think across party lines we can fully support. So that's what this bill does. And then the other issue, which was a wrinkle when we passed this the last time, was that the governor did not feel that there was enough financial data to support it. We now have that cured. We have estimates in terms of what this would cost, and I'll share that with you very briefly. The expected or anticipated utilizations of 5% would be $5.7 million, and then the high-end anticipated utilization of 25% would be about $29 million, which candidly, without being too glib, is a rounding error when it comes to the overall Hope Scholarship writ large. And this will do just an incredible thing to motivate our most talented students, the students that are working the hardest, and the students that we want to keep here in Georgia. So I'd appreciate your favorable consideration and would be happy to answer any questions.
I think your daughter has a, oh no, I can't call on her. Let's see. Representative Barrett has a question to your left. Well, he does sit right by you, I think, doesn't he? Gentleman's recognized for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Isn't it likely that this bill will likely entice more excellent Georgia students to choose one of our many excellent institutions of higher learning as opposed to possibly going to other states, and thus, by default, encourage them to stay here professionally and spend their lives in Georgia?
Absolutely. I thank my seatmate and co-sponsor the bill, and you're exactly right. Thank you.
Gentleman, Representative Ali, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that this bill would make Georgia students more competitive in our growing economy and open more pathways to them to be successful, especially since a large portion of them often have a large amount of unused credits post-graduation?
Yes, and it would also, one thing I didn't state, thank you for the question, is this will make higher education more affordable, and that's a big concern for everybody as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman has no further questions.
I yield the well. Thank you.
Gentleman's yielded the well. We do have a speaker who will speak in favor, Representative Santos. The lady is recognized to speak to the bill. Please give her your attention, please. It's an important bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise in strong support of House Bill 385. As a first-generation college graduate who went on to earn a master's degree in public administration, I understand how transformative access to education can be, not just for one person, but for an entire family and for the communities that we serve. This bill is about something very simple and powerful. When Georgia students work hard, meet the standard, and commit themselves to moving forward, our state should not place unnecessary barriers in the middle of that path. HB 385 keeps faith with the promise that opportunity in Georgia is earned through effort and achievement. It tells the next generation of students, from our rural towns to our growing cities, that their discipline and their persistence and their goals matter. And when those students complete their education, they do not disappear. They become our professionals, our public servants, our healthcare providers, educators, and even legislators. Leaders who strengthen this state, and they keep our communities moving forward. This is a responsible step, it is a forward-looking step, and it is a statement about who we are as a state. One that believes in developing our own talent and investing in the people who are willing to do the work. I respectfully ask for your favorable consideration of HB 385. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question order? The lady has yielded the well. The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. Have all members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 385, the yeas are 160, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, that completes the rules calendar. Also, we will House Resolution 1000, House Resolution 1049 will be postponed to the next legislative day. For what purpose does Representative Townsend rise?
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I move that the rules be temporarily suspended so that a bill may be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
I think that's your motion. The gentleman.
That is a motion.
That's it. That's the one you wanted to make. Mr. Clerk will read the caption.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Townsend in the 179th and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 12 of Article 6 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to disposition of delinquency in the Juvenile Code.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Judiciary Juvenile. For what purpose does Representative Leverett rise?
To make a motion,
State your motion.
I move that the rules be temporarily suspended so that a bill may be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Leverett of the 123rd and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 11, Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to emergency medical services so as to transfer responsibility for the oversight from the Department of Public Health to the Georgia Emergency Medical Services and Trauma Council.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Regulated Industries. For what purpose does Chairlady Camp rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
To have the rules temporarily suspended, to have a bill read for the first time and assigned to a committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Camp of the 135th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 86 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to local government efficiency so as to provide for a comprehensive efficiency review of local taxing bodies.
On the lady's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Governmental Affairs. For what purpose does Chairman Carson rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that House Bill 1377 be moved from the Committee on Ways and Means to the Committee on Transportation. Both chairmen are in agreement.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill 1377 by Representative Carson of the 46th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 5B of Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to special districts for transit purposes, sales, and use tax.
On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 1377 be withdrawn from the Ways and Means Committee and recommitted to Transportation Committee, is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. For what purpose does Chairman Anderson rise?
To make a motion,
State your motion.
I move the rules be temporarily suspended so a bill may be read and assigned.
For the first time, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Anderson of the 10th to be entitled an act to amend Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to local government so as to provide for comprehensive regulation of local government assets financing.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Governmental Affairs. Members, you're going to have about a minute with a little bit of flexibility on our afternoon orders. That completes we have completed our rules calendar and any motions that we have that needed to be made. So we're going to move on to the afternoon orders. So we're going to give you a little over a minute if you need it. Representative Ford, Jacqueline Ford, is going to be recognized for our first afternoon order. Members, will you give the lady in the well your attention, please? And I'm going to ask you to stand. All members stand, please. The lady is recognized, and Representative Chairman Meeks is recognized to be with her.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to take a moment to honor the life and memory of Darvin Eason. Whereas the state of Georgia mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished citizens with the passing of Mr. Eason on February 16, 2026. He was born December 11, 1939, a man of deep and abiding faith. He was an active member of Lakeview Baptist Church. He was united in love and marriage to his wife Nancy, and they were blessed with 2 children, Robbie and Wendy, and wonderful grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He served as Vice President of Water for Life Haiti, where he tirelessly guided the group in its mission to provide clean drinking water, irrigation for farming, education, and other means of assistance to people of southern Haiti. And Darvin also served as chairman of the board and director emeritus of the Georgia Agribusiness Council, president of the Georgia Peanut Producers Association, and chairman of the board for South Central Georgia Gin. Whereas deeply involved in and loving what he did, Darvin was awarded the Blair W. Davis Outstanding Service Award from the Georgia Plant Food Educational Society in 2000, was named Progressive Farmer Magazine Man of the Year in 1996, and a compassionate and generous man, Darvin Eason will long be remembered for his love of family, friendship, and community, and he will be missed by all who knew him.
Thank you, Representative Ford. As the Bible says, to be absent with the body is to be present with the Lord, and we know indeed that is where Darvin Eason is today. As the many accolades that have been said by Representative Ford, I just want to take a moment and say that Darvin was one of the most fearless advocates for agriculture and the agriculture industry and the ability for the next generation to return to the family farm. We know as producers today that we stand on the shoulders of those such as Mr. Darvin Eason and Mr. Louis Perry, who we recently honored, and the great work that those gentlemen have done in advocating for agriculture. If you will, join us in a moment of silence for Mr. Darvin Eason. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We yield the well.
Thank you for that remembrance and condolences to the family. Representative Westbrook, Ann Allen Westbrook, is recognized for an afternoon order. Give the lady your attention, please. Representative Martinez, you're on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, members of the House. Because remembrance is not a violation, but the solemn duty of free and hopeful people, I rise to mark 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the largest ground war in Europe since the Second World War. More than a century ago, the Ukrainian poet Lesya Ukrainka, witnessing the twilight of empires that would reshape Europe, wrote the words, "Contra spem spero." Against all hope, I hope. Her words call for deliberate hope, one that chooses freedom through the defense of dignity. And so on this somber day, with hope against hope in my heart, I rise out of respect for the people of Ukraine, wherever they may be, from Crimea to Savannah, and their long fight for hope, dignity, and freedom. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Thank you for that order. Representative Ray Martinez is Recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And friends.
I am so proud to be an American today, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, you guys been watching the Olympics lately? Yes, what a game, including record 12 gold medals, including speed skating, freestyle, downhill skiing, bobsledding, our hockey team that beat Canada, Jack Hughes, absolutely. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, but my personal story is a lady, Alicia Liu, American skater. Her dad fled communism. She came to this country and to earn a gold medal in skiing, in figure skating. So we're very proud of our American Olympics medals. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Representative Scott and friends. Wait a minute, just pause for a moment.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, and thank you. It is my absolute joy to introduce Homegrown Heroes by Sandra Given Scott. Homegrown Heroes inspires us to grow what we eat. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the will.
That's a good book. Representative Ali, you're recognized for your traditional afternoon order. Bring it to us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My fellow members, we've done a lot of good for our students and children today, and I wanted to end today by helping one more child who is up for adoption. On the screen is Isaiah. Isaiah is a 16-year-old who is a comedic genius, Falcons fan, and a studious kid. He's looking to be adopted, and I'm encouraging this body to help one more child before we close out for the day and get Isaiah a family to call home. At itsmyturnnow.dhs.georgia.gov. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Representative Ali. Chairlady Taylor. Talk. Afternoon order. You'll talk about the coffee cart? Let's hear it. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very happy to share with all of y'all this afternoon something special tomorrow. Georgia Corps is going to have a coffee cart out in the street, on Mitchell Street, and between noon and 2 tomorrow. Stop by. It's still going to be cold. Get some coffee. They're doing this as part of a promotion about cancer, especially colon cancer. This is a way to get words out. They'll have a few words to speak with you, but you'll have a nice warm cup of coffee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
That concludes our afternoon orders. We'll move. Let's see. All right, Mr. Clerk, we've already done privileged resolutions. We've done motions. That leaves announcements. Representative Chaz Cannon, you still in town? Recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a quick reminder, Range Day is today at the House Sportsman's Caucus event this afternoon at Freedom Shooting Center at 485 Bishop Street Northwest. Starts at 5 o'clock, runs through 7 o'clock. There'll be food, gun safety instruction, food, refreshment. It'll be a great time. Come out and support it. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Cannon, we're going to move meetings back 30 minutes. Does that include that event, or is it still going to begin at 5?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, from 5 to 7 is a block we have reserved for time at the range.
Understood. Members, as you make your announcements, we will move all meetings and appointments back 30 minutes this afternoon. 30 minutes this afternoon. Representative Gardenia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Atlanta Caribbean Carnival Day at the Capitol in room 216. There is jerk chicken, curry chicken. No goat, man. No goat. Maybe oxtail, but you need to come down and see for Caribbean Day at the Capitol. They're also going to have costumes, so if you're interested in seeing the beautiful colors and taking pictures for the festivities coming up, come down to room 216. Pictures are at 4:15. Thank you.
Come on down, have some chicken. No goat, just chicken. Representative Carter. Representative Doreen Carter.
Thank you, sir. All right, y'all. It's the last week of February. We have had an amazing time celebrating Black history. And so we are going to culminate the culture on Thursday. So please wear your African attire or whatever, Native attire, just be dressed. But come festive Thursday, and we'll celebrate Black history from the beginning of history. And then for those of you who plan to join us Friday evening at the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus Annual Gala, I hope you register because we have shut down registration. So if you are a member and have not registered, please do it today or you will not have a seat. Thank you.
Chair Lady Cooper. Chair Lady Cooper. Chair Lady Cooper. Y'all be quiet so she can hear. Chair Lady Cooper is recognized for an announcement.
Okay. Members of the Public Health and Community Committee, sorry. We will be meeting at 3:30 and 6:06. Thank you to Representative Tarvin for moving his meeting so that we could both meet. But we will meet at 3:30 in room 606. Please be there. We have some bills on the committee that are really important. Thank you.
I agree with you, Chair Lady Cooper. Chairman Tarvin is a consummate gentleman. Well, let's see what he's got to say about that. So, Chairman Tarvin, see if you're going to comply. Chairman Tarvin is recognized for an announcement.
Mr. Speaker, I'm so confused. I'm not sure what we're doing, but we've got a very important meeting on budget and fiscal oversight. We got two people we're going to hear bills from, and they both want them passed out, and we got a hearing. So we'll be in 1:32, 30 minutes after we adjourn, and be there or be square. 1:32 in the basement. All members, I need all 18 of you there. I want to give these people a fair hearing. Thank you.
1:32, Mr. Chairman. Gotcha. Chairman Parsons, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, which is scheduled for 3 today, will now be at 3:30 in room 403 here in the Capitol. I think there might be another meeting in there before us, but as of right now, as far as I know, it would be at 3:30. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, I need you to be there. Thank you.
Representative Gamble, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., the fellowship will meet, and Chairman Brian Prince will share in the morning. And I know I haven't seen some of y'all in there lately. It's not too late to show up tomorrow. It's going to be in Judiciary. You need the practice or the prayer. I think we need both. So y'all show up for fellowship in the morning, 7 a.m.
Chairman Montahan, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have the Code Revision Committee upon adjournment. We got one bill, so if you're on the committee, please stop by. Thank you.
Chairman Carson. You weren't doing Gamble as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Retirement Committee will be meeting upon adjournment. We have 3 bills to take up. House Retirement Committee. Once we are done in 406 CLOB, we're going to go straight into a joint retirement committee hearing with the Senate Retirement Committee. Thank you.
Chairman Bonner, recognized for an announcement.
Defense and Veteran Affairs Committee at 4 p.m. in CLOB 506. Thank you.
Chairman Parrish, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Rules Committee meeting in the morning at 9 a.m., room 341 in the morning. Thank you.
Chairman Anderson recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Governmental Affairs Elections Subcommittee will meet upon adjournment in CLOB 415, and then the State and Local Subcommittee will meet following that upon adjournment of the Elections Subcommittee. Thank you.
Chairman Dickey recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agricultural and Consumer Affairs will meet in the morning, 8 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you.
One correction, or adjustment, I should say. Representative Parsons, Chairman Parsons is recognized. So if you're on his committee, you need to listen up. Chairman Parsons.
Thank you, Speaker. EUT, Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications will meet upon adjournment of the Ways and Means meeting that will be in 403 upstairs. I think it starts at 3:30, so we'll have to wait a little while, hopefully not too long, but I do need you there. Just kind of hang around till we can get in the room. Thank you. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 10 o'clock a.m.
On the motion, the majority leader illustration, this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February the 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. It was clear. The ayes have it. Thank you. We are adjourned.